Hi everyone, Trina Phoenix here, and good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. And in the last video, we were talking about how I realized the Lord was the divine feminine, and that was a really hard thing for me to wrap my mind around, and I struggled with it for quite some time. Because my definition of the Lord wasn't the same as what was being taught. So to not only have this as your like spirit guide from the time you're little, to have such a personal relationship with this being and it to be nothing at all like what was being portrayed in church, that was a little confusing for me, especially when I was younger. And then it became confusing again as a teenager because I went to church camp, and that was the first time I'd been to church ever. And it was really, I got taken over by like the Holy Spirit. And I've always just had the ability to integrate with these frequencies. And it's always been very natural for me. So, my experiences were different than what was being taught. And it was more of an anchoring of I'm living in two worlds at the same time, and it was kind of hard. But and I knew not to speak of it, which was hard too. But at least I had them to talk about it with, so that was comforting. But yeah, it was a conundrum. And when I started to see that this Lord, my spirit guide, was kind of like our soul. Like, we're all the same, but we're aspects of that being, which is male and female. Because it could be mothering, it could be so comforting and so loving, but he had a dual aspect of him as well. And he could get angry, and he could be more stern like a father, so he could be anything. And it was kind of hard because there's nothing here that kind of matches that. So it was kind of a hard concept to kind of keep firmly anchored in my awareness, because it was so opposite of what we're taught here. So this being to me was always more androgynous, I guess you would say, because it was both. You could feel it was both. And you knew it was both. And you knew it could create of itself. I don't know how to explain that too, but you knew it could literally create anything right immediately. So I found this other book a few years ago, and it was done by Mark Cordova, and it's called The Secret and the Truth of the Ages. And this is the little book he wrote, and it's just a little book, and I would suggest y'all go. I think it's on Amazon, and go get it. It is such a little tiny little book, packed with some profound nuggets, at least in my opinion, because it just really resonated with me, because trying to wrap this into my head with sound and geometry and how we are stars and all this stuff was in my head, and it was like, is anybody else seeing any of this? Well, this guy was seeing something real similar, pretty spot on to what I was seeing. So I'm going to read a little bit of it to you. And if it resonates, great. If it doesn't, that's okay. But I just wanted to give it to you so you could process it. So, first of all, he says, before you read this book, I will warn you, your inner eye and your inner ear will be opened. You will become the person who you truly are, and not the person that you think you are. You will understand everything that you have ever been taught by the societies of this world have been false. Few people on this earth have tried, but have never been able to completely understand the complete knowledge of the truth. Why are we here? Where did we come from? And where are we going? Questions like these will be answered in this book. And this book again is called The Secret and the Teachings, The Secret and the Truth of the Ages by Mark Cordova, Cordova, M-A-R-K, Mark. So, okay, in the very beginning was the Father. Before the beginning can be explained, you must understand the existence before the beginning. This is key. You need to understand before there was light, before the beginning. So, what and or who is existence? Existence is a pure, ineffable mind. Existence has always existed. Existence was, is, and will always be. There is no time in existence. Existence is the same person that Christ called the Father. You see, the Father does not really have a name. All who have a name were given their name by someone who existed before them. So the Father does not only not have a name, but is also invisible. For there was no one before him to see him, because he existed before everything. His quality and his quantity cannot be known. He is limitless. For there was no one before him to set limits upon him. Time does not exist in him. He is timeless existence, and this will be explained further later on in the book. So now, the mother. If something does not make sense, then it is probably not true. Even little children understand this without explanation. So let us make sense of this. Think to yourself, if you were the Father, what would be your first thought? Being that there is only you. His first thought was the opposite of himself. Since he has never been seen and he is invisible, then his opposite would be his image, the image of himself. Everything that is and everything that is not has an opposite to it. Take, for example, the material universe. It is the opposite of the eternal realm. The eternal realm is eternal. The material universe is not eternal. Do you see the opposition of the two? Do not get confused. The material universe is not his image. This will also be explained further in the book. But getting back to the Father, his first thought was an image of himself. Therefore, if he is the Father, then his image must be the mother. His image, or mother, is the very beginning, or the beginning of everything. It makes sense, because mother would be the opposite of the Father. The visible versus the invisible. Mind and thought. You got to have the mind, the mental, to conceive of thought. So, Father, mother, it's in all things, the opposites. So, okay, so she being the opposite of the Father. So now the mother has a name, and it is the first name ever given. And of course it was given to her by the Father, and her name, believe it or not, is man. Man. Yes, this is the true sacred name, the true sacred secret. This is the secret that the religions and the governments never ever wanted you to know. You see, the Son, Christ, is the child of the Father and the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit's name is man. And yes, the Holy Spirit is female. So what you can see is the feminine aspect. So like the Lord, because I can see the Lord is, I'm pretty sure, Sophia. Pretty sure. I could be wrong, but this being is, it seems to be over everything. That's all I can say. And it can bilocate, and it can be everything at the same time, and it can transform into anything. I've never seen another being that had this much power or ability. So you see, the Son, Christ, is the child of the Father and the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit's name is man. And yes, the Holy Spirit is female. So what sense does it make that a son comes from two men? A son comes from a father and a mother. You can get a better understanding of this when you look at the scriptures. Christ never really said that he was a son of God. This one who called himself God made up the world and the meaning of the word called God. Religion did its best to make us believe that Christ said that he was the Son of God through forgery and editing. But you can clearly see for yourself what Christ did truly say. He plainly and clearly stated, I am the Son of Man. The Father does not have a name, but the Holy Spirit does. This is why he says this. The true Trinity. What does he say of the Father? He says that the Father within me doeth the work. The same Father that is within him is within you. It is your mind, your invisible mind. The Father within you, not your brain. The brain is material. The mind is eternal. And the images that you see in your mind, that is Mother. That is the Holy Spirit within you. So now, Christ the Son is also called the Word. What is the Word? When I say to you, tree, do you see a tree or do you see T-R-E-E, the letters spelled out? You see the image. You understand the letters, but immediately you see the tree. So, of course, you see the image. Therefore, the Father is the mind or the mental, and the Mother is the image. This is what the Lord would show me all the time. Within my mind, there were two rivers. And those two rivers, one was masculine, one was feminine. One was connected to the Mother, one was connected to the Father. So exactly what he showed me. So, the Son or the Word is the two in the one, because when you have the concept, then you have the image, so you have the mind, then you have the thought, and then from that you can produce the action or the word or the creation, because we are the creation points, because we are manifest. So we create, manifest here, now, with word. And the word within you is a mental image. So you see, the true Trinity is not outside of you, but it is within you. Religion and governments teach you to look outside of yourself to a God that doesn't exist anymore, because the true kingdom of heaven is within you, and it is eternal. Everything outside of your true self, even your body, is not eternal. Your body, all material, and the whole material universe belongs to the first God, who is no more. And just like he is no more, so will all of his material universe be as well. But remember, you are not of this world. Just like Christ said, I am not of this world. You are not even of this earth or even of any of this material universe. That was one of the biggest things they kept trying to tell me. Remember that you come from the eternal realms, which are invisible, my child. This light is a reflection of the truth, but it is not what you come from. This was what I had to always be reminded of, because I would start to forget, and they'd have to anchor me back into my foundation of the unseen, beyond infinite spectrums, getting back into the eternal realms, because infinite spectrums are that. They are trapped light, reflective light spectrums radiating from the source. But it's not source. It's not the actual eternal source. It's a copy, an image. It's material. So, the true you is your mind, the Father, and your spirit, the Mother, and your soul. Your soul is who you are individually. It's your unique personality, the things that make you original. Your soul, or you, is made up of the true Trinity, the true cross, not the crucifix. The crossing of the Father and the Mother in your mind. This is what makes the Son. This is what makes the Christ. The Christ means the crossing of the Father and the Mother. You will become free from your entrapment. You will know everything. You will know you. You will come to realize that you are far greater than time, darkness, sound, death, or the whole material universe. Let us now get back to the understanding in the very beginning. In the very beginning, the Father had his first thought, and that thought became his image. And his image, he gave a name, and her name is man. And she is the Holy Spirit. See, the Holy Spirit, this is why I think the Holy Spirit is water, because the image was reflected into the primordial waters. And this is what I saw. The thought produced an image into the water. And when the image was brought forth in the water, the Father could see the image for the first time. But it had to be brought into this water, into the mother, because the mother formed the image. He brought forth the architecture, the desire, the will. She manifested it in her water and showed him the image of himself. And that became her. It's so hard to wrap in your brain. It was so profound, the geometry and the sound and all of it that was coming into it to produce this image of the Christ, which is man, and man is the original template that we're all running around in. This is man body. It's 5-pointed star. Our bodies, when you put them out, they look like stars. Legs, arms, head. We are the star. So, and it was based upon the stars from the eternal realms. So those stars are us, and we're projecting into the material realms through our eternal star, quasi-crystal, quantum. So we are points of light. I've seen this so over and over again. So, okay. So yes, in the very beginning, the Father had his first thought, and his thought became his image. He gave his image a name, and her name is man. She is the Holy Spirit. Okay, so this, like I said, this is an amazing book. I would suggest y'all get it. It's not expensive. I think it's like $14 or $16 through Amazon. And Mark Cordova, boy, he has been hit with the truth bombs from direct source, because like I said, I haven't come in to see many people who have gone this far up the ladder into the invisible realms of existence. And he's definitely dove into that. And through that, he came to the same conclusions that I did, that the Holy Spirit was birthed from the water, and the water was birthed from the concept of the Father's architecture, wanting to see see itself. Literally, it wanted to experience creation. It wanted to experience what it was, because in its fullness, it couldn't separate out of itself. So although it was all potential, it couldn't see itself. So this is why the waters were formed. And I think the waters were formed out of that desire and that will to create and love. And through that process, the images started to be born out of the water. And the thoughts and all of it was manifesting out of the waters. And eventually all the way down into the material realms. And it's so funny, because when we die, we lose, like they say, 2.5 grams upon death. And they really don't know what it is, but they can measure that you lose this weight instantly. You lose about 3 grams. So what I've seen is that's the Holy Spirit, and it's water. And that water is your true genetics. Your true codes go out of the body when your body expires. That packet of invisible, eternal substance is what leaves the body, and it goes straight up into the next level of your body, which is your causal body. So you're going to go up to the next layer. So you're going to drop the flesh body, and you're going to connect back to your 5th dimensional bodies, and then above, hopefully you can get up higher. But that's why when we die, we still have memory, because everything is held in this water. This water is like the invisible part of our DNA, is what they showed me. It's like the true DNA, but you can't see it. It's invisible. That's why they'll never be able to capture it. They'll never be able to reproduce it. It is from creation, the eternal realms, and this is what they're trying to get. This is what they want. And they can trap it if you allow it. You agree. So the ones going into the robots and the ones putting their consciousness into the AI systems, yeah, they're giving it away. So giving it to a machine in the material world. So I would suggest hold on to your divine water. Hold on to your Holy Spirit, because the Holy Spirit, man, that's the only thing that's going to be left, is that beautiful eternal source, which is your mind, your consciousness, your ability to know that I am. That comes from the eternal Father. And that eternal Father is Mother. And through Mother, you exist as the Son. And that's another reason I think that we were called sons, because suns are stars. And stars are brilliant points of light. And they're always moving. They're always moving. So the be still and know that I am, kind of tricky when we're stars of dancing light. But the stillness is the balance between the Mother and the Father, because when you get into the stillness of your mind, that's when you hit 0 point. And within the 0 point, you've connected back into the eternal realms. It's through the 0, through the circle. So remember, it's always 0 was first. 1 was birthed forth from the circle. So, and everything here is held in circles and Torah fields, and that's why even the Bible is called Torah, because the Bible is a very multi-dimensional book. And you guys, we need to protect it, because they're going to try to take it away. And they're going to try to remove all these things that we're giving to you now, because these are the things that they've kept very desperately hidden, because they understand the power of this knowledge. And when you can balance your being and manifest from 0 point, they know that you're standing as God. And when you're truly standing as God, you're truly standing in your sovereignty. And when you truly can get into sovereignty, that means that there is no one that can rule over you. No one. No one. Because you are standing in your sovereignty as the father and mother in balance. And in that balance, you become Christ. And other than the Christ, there's not too many higher places to go other than back into the waters and then back into the eternal, invisible source. And I see that when you do eventually go, if you go all the way back up again, you will be right back brought into literally all that is. So you will not have no more personality. So be careful on how high you desire to go, because I think if you go too high, you will literally go into source again and become all that is, and you will lose all of your personal awareness and identity, because you will literally become the all with the all. So I know it's a conundrum, but it's what I see, and I've seen it for years and years and years. So we come from something so much greater than the material realms, and we are in the material realms manifesting, and I think we're testing and learning, and we're literally consciousness trying to have a better understanding of itself. And I guess that would be my definition of the Father, would be mind simply trying to have a comprehension and an understanding of itself. And through us, the Creator gave us Himself. So we have the mind of our Father, and through the creation of our mother, we can see. So she is the image. He is the thought, like the construct, the architecture, but she literally brings it into creation through image. So these images that have been birthed forth from the mother gave us the ability to have man. And through the templates of man from the Father, expressed and seen through the mother, we now are the Christ, because the Father-Mother concept, which to me is the Lord, that's how I communicate to them, is through the Christ, through the man template, which is, I'm pretty sure, Sophia. When I communicate to the Lord and I would ask about these things, He's like, you're both. You're everything, just as I am. And through us, this is how the Father gets to experience all of creation. So it was like, He's like, you're my hands. I feel the world through you. And it's so funny too. 5 fingers, 5 points on a star. It always goes back to the star. And it's so funny because He really understood this concept. Do you see how He's got the stars? One is upright and one is reversed. The one that dives down into the material realm is the mother, the female. The one that's upright is the eternal construct of the Father. So this is the truth. It's the star. And understand that you are that star, because that star is the Father and the Mother manifest in you as the sun. And the sun is a star. So I love you guys. I hope that helps you understand a little bit more about my construct and how my belief systems have evolved throughout time to have a greater, fuller understanding of my creation source and my origins and my beginnings, which appears to be one of man. And that's what we are. We are truly, we are man. And man is woman. Man holds womb because man is androgynous and man creates of itself through itself. And through this dance of man, we've separated out of ourselves, just like the Father, so we could have an image to see of ourselves and learn how to operate, manifest these images in these bodies so we can experience creation in a tangible, material way. We, I believe, built this artificial construct, and I think it got taken over by dark forces. But I believe that we literally built this so we could create and play with matter and experience the material worlds. And through getting lost in that playground, would you remember what you really are? Would you get so lost in the illusion of the playground that you would forget your connection to home? And I think that was done on purpose to test the souls, because I believe that the souls, they go through initiations, and as the initiations are conquered, passed, and achieved, they graduate. You graduate to do new levels of creation with the Father and the Mother in cooperation with them as their son. So, us sons, we create, we manifest with the powers of our Mother and our Father through our hearts. And your heart is the generator that makes all of you exist. Without that heart beating, you will not exist in this material realm. So connect with your heart, because through that beating of your heart, that's where you find your Mother and Father combined. The trifold flame truly is within the heart, and it is within the mind. And when you can connect the mind and the heart, Mother and Father collapse in on each other, and they create this perfect star that is inverted within itself, and it makes the perfect polarity in the balance of the sun. It needs both pieces to animate and to have breath and to have the beat. So the breath and then the beat of the heart. So it's like Father beats the heart, while Mother is the breath that's making all of it operate in the body. It's like it's all super combined. So we need to understand we truly are both. We are both. And both, the name of that would be man. That's why we're called mankind. Because we used to be man, but now we're kind of man. A hue, a shadow, a sliver, a ray, a spectrum of man. But we are not full anymore because we've forgotten the eternal part of us, but we're remembering that now. So as we wake up to our fullness, we need to understand that we are both. We are Mother and Father, expressing as children of Creator in polarity, masculine or feminine. But the masculine is hidden within me, just like the feminine is hidden within the males. So we truly still are dual. And through that duality and that separation, we are one. So I love you all. I hope that helps. And I hope it enlightened you and gave you some new concepts to think about. I love Mark's work, and I think he did a wonderful job. It's a great book. I would suggest everybody get a hold of it, because I have a feeling this will be one of those little books that ends up being a very, very big treasure for many of those who are seeking to understand God. I love y'all. See you on the next one.